Welcome back to Norman Reviews, everyone. I'm John, and we're continuing with some X-Men comics because I love me some X-Men. As soon as I'm done with this review, I'm going to go watch the latest episode of X-Men 97. This video probably won't be posted up until quite a while after that, but whatever. So we're in Astonishing X-Men with Joss Whedon. This is issue number 3. This is picking up from Grant Morrison's run. Professor Xavier's gone, taking a hiatus. Jean Grey is dead. So the new team is Wolverine, Cyclops, Beast, Kitty Pryde, and the White Queen. White Queen and Cyclops are boning. And there's a new boring as fuck villain named Ord. Because he's ordinary, who's doing some shit. He kind of fucked up the X-Men a little bit when he tried to take some hostages. The X-Men are trying to take a more heroic, proactive approach like the Avengers and Fantastic Four and not be such like this weird mutant terrorist group or something, this outlaw team that people seem to think. So they're trying to take on threats that are not just mutant related. At the same time, there's this doctor who announced that she developed a cure for the mutant disease, as she calls it. And at the end of the last issue, Beast went to confront her, and he wanted to know if it was real. So we pick up, and there's Kitty Pryde, and she's talking to this kid about something. He's talking about his powers. He can fly, and when he first tried, he broke both his legs because he thought he was invulnerable. Just kind of talking about that experience. Now he's worried that this cure is going to maybe be forced upon him, like he's going to lose his powers. And she's saying, like, no one's going to force it on you. Mutants are a community. We're a people, and there's no way anybody can make us be what we want. We stick together and don't panic or overreact. You'll see, we're stronger than this. This guy says, Miss Pryde, are you a fucking retard? I don't like that word, but whatever. So he says, are you stupid? Like, you think that's how it's gonna go? So you got this whole line of, like, people, mutants, like, lined up, wanting to get a taste of the cure. This storyline was loosely, and I mean very loosely, and somewhat horribly adapted in X-Men 3, X-Men's Last Stand, when it should have just been a Phoenix story, or done a thing with the cure and then done another movie about the Phoenix. Give us time to breathe. So the X-Men are like listening to stuff on the TV. They're talking amongst themselves about the situation. White Queen is kind of making fun of Kitty Pryde about like the mutants are a community line. She says, we're not a community. They're pathetic sheep begging to be shorn. The students were missing from my ethics class, 17 overall. Logan had to break up 2 fistfights and a mystical sword fight. And the dreadful crab boy is at Benetech telling reporters this is every mutant's only chance to avoid burning in everlasting hellfire. And Kitty's like, oh my god, you teach ethics? Yes. Let's make jokes right now. So they're just kind of bickering back and forth about one another. Wolverine's like, I thought I was the one with the claws. Beast comes in. He's been up all night, apparently. He wants some coffee, and he's like, I got a sample of the cure. And like, how? She's like, she gave it to me. And he's like, I went to see her. She gave it to me. She wanted me to verify her results. He's like, I'll be a day at most. So they're just kind of like, what the fuck, man? Especially her. I like that picture, John Cassidy. I was talking about like where John Cassidy, like what he did first, and I was talking about how he did Captain America before this, and I totally forgot that he did do Planetary. I was reminded by my brother Rob's video of Planetary, and he's getting into that from Image Comics by Warren Ellis. Go check out that video of his. But yeah, that's where John Cassidy, like some of his first stuff. I don't know what he did before Planetary. So here's Ord. "Are you insane?" Yelling at her in this like crazy look. And she's like, "Yeah, the casual observer would perhaps not look at me as the unbalanced one." He's fucking mad that he gave the X-Men the serum. He's like, "I gave an old colleague the serum." It's like, they're going to get it sooner or later. But this is guy and her, like, they're in leagues with each other. Like, what's their ultimate plan? Like, I don't know at this point. And he's like, "You know what the X-Men are to me?" No, I don't. She's like, "Well, they're like just an excuse for you to act like a supervillain right now." They're talking, and he's saying basically like she's Earthspawn, so he's like an alien or something, right? And he talks about how his technology gave her the cure, like the cure wouldn't be possible without him. And let's see. And he says the mutants will pay for what they did to my face. I don't remember what he looked like before that, but Lockheed like burned him. And he's talking to her. It's like, "You were just a pawn in the grand scheme. There's something you cannot even comprehend its scope." And she's like, "Well, okay, cool. I won't try. I don't care. I have more important things to worry about," basically. So she's looking at this girl who we've seen in past issues, and she was put on TV by this doctor because this is kind of like the guinea pig mutant. She can like manifest her horrible nightmares that end up killing people. So now we cut to Nick Fury, all in red behind him for some reason. Oh, because it says here, someone's going to die. You know how I know this? Because I'm going to kill him. And Cyclops says, "It is one of yours." I guess Cyclops, the people that Ord, like the henchmen that Ord had, they had some shield tech. And Cyclops brought this gun to Nick Fury to like verify, like, is this shield? Casing's been modified, but the package definitely shield design, experimental, very new. And he said, "One of those clowns who gotten a round off near a civilian once it went off," but Cyclops like, "Nope, don't worry. We took care of it." And he's like, how did like they get the tech in the first place? Like, that's what we're trying to figure out. And then he asks about Ord. He's like, "Does that ring any bells to Fury?" And he's like, "You know that this guy is an alien warrior?" And he's like, "He could be anything, could even be a mutant." Cyclops kind of gets down, all grumpy. He's like, "Am I missing something?" And Fury's like, I don't have a lot to go on. And he's like, "You know about the cure, right? The mutants are a disease, and the monster shows up when all this comes out, carrying a crew, running a crew with your weapons." And Fury says, "Don't get in my face, boy. That ain't a right you've earned." So he's like, "Yeah, you're Cyclops and everything, but I'm Nick Fury and I'm a lot older, and like, don't act tough in front of me." Wolverine could get away with that. Captain America could get away with that. Cyclops, not yet. He says, "I let you up here because Xavier's got some cred with the powers." He says, "You're in charge." He's like, "I'll run the name Ord down, see whatever it can find. But if you got some beef with your ex-team, the problem's not mine, it's yours. And if you think anybody here is losing sleep over whether or not you mutants might all suddenly lose your powers, then you ain't been to Manhattan lately." He's like, "The X-Men saved Manhattan, Colonel." He's talking about what happened at the end of Grant Morrison's run where Magneto did like a huge attack on New York. Even though the X-Men stopped it, but it's like, it doesn't matter. Like, that's still a mutant attacking and killing a lot of people. And he calls Magneto your boy. He's like, "Our boy? What makes him our boy?" It's like, "He taught at your school." It's like, yeah, he was more stable then. And then he talked about, what about Miss Frost? He's like, "We're watching you. So, if you get out of line, we're going to be there." It's like, yeah, well, we were watching Genosa when it was destroyed. Again, that was mirrored in X-Men 97. He's like, "That ain't American soil." And he says, "For a guy with one eye, your vision's incredibly narrow." He just looks at him. I'll hear about this Ord, I'll give you a call. And he's like, "Wait, out, get the fuck out." Cool shot of the Blackbird leaving the helicarrier. And then I forget her name. She's new here. I don't think she's been introduced yet. But she says to Fury, do you think he knows? And then it cuts to Beast. And he says, it's not conclusive. There's Wolverine looking badass in the fucking shadows. He's like, but it looks good. Like, you think it's real. And Wolverine says, get rid of it. Get rid of it right now, or I'll go through you to do it. So he says Emma, she had no right. So apparently, they're explaining it there. But when Beast and them were talking, Emma noticed something with Beast right here. She's a telepath, right? She said she couldn't help it. You were like a billboard, like neon. Big neon sign flashing. I want to get off. I want to get out. Basically, Beast wants to use the cure. Is that how it goes, McCoy? You've had enough? You want to see how the other half lives their lives? He's like, it's none of your damn business, Wolverine. He's like, wrong answer. And wrong answer, and Wolverine just jumps at him. He's like, like you said, I'm going to go through you to destroy that thing. So Wolverine ain't fucking around. Jumps at him. Beast gets on his back, like pushes him up with his legs. That's kind of cool. Like he flings him still in the sky, in the air. He says, you beast. Kind of cheesy. Don't push this, Logan. He's like, I letting you. And he's like, I don't know what I am. I used to have fingers. I used to have a mouth before he was a cat. I could kiss. I could walk down the street. He used to look human. Then he became like ape beast. Now his secondary mutation is like cat beast. It's like, he's like, I might be devolving. My mind is still sharp, but my instincts, my emotions, you know, like what it's like to be out of control. It's like, so what am I supposed to do? Wait until I'm lying in front of the students playing with a ball of string? I am a human being. So he's worried that he's devolving and that the mutant cure might like save him in his mind. Wolverine's like, wrong. You're an X-Man. Some weak sister in the freshman dorm wants to drop his powers. I could care less, but you're an X-Man. So he's like, all the other mutants out there want to do it, but come on, you're an X-Man. One of us caves and it's over. It's an endorsement stamp for every single mutant to be lined up and neutered. And you know that. You know that, Wolverine tells him. So either flush that junk down the John right now, or he pops his claws, or I'm going to turn you into a goddamn throw rug. Little man. And he has his beastly claws out. Enough. And they jump at each other. Attacking, slashing, clawing, biting, tussling, rumbling, rolling. Turns into sex soon. Come crashing through the fucking walls there. Wolverine's out for fucking blood, dude. That's nuts. Right in front of all the students. These guys are like, so what? The teachers spend all the time here trying to kill each other? This place is so cool. So it was Wolverine and Cyclops fighting. Now it's Wolverine and Beast. So they're right there. Teeth bared, claws out, but a mental command says break, and they stop, and says and bow. So they bow, and obviously it's White Queen here. Now get into the danger room before I make you bloody tango. So now they're in the danger room. Weird setup, like a child's room. It's like, I didn't program it, but I happened to find it perfectly appropriate. This is really pushing it, Wolverine says. That's funny. So Cyclops is like, do you think the serum's viable? And he says, I think so. Cyclops tells him, when you're done, finish your analysis. Let's not be tearing each other apart over a fake. And Wolverine's like, well, what if it works? And he says, well, I'm trusting you not to do anything till both of you spoke to me. Is that fair? And then he asks about his conversation with Fury. And it's like, we're on our own. We don't have their help. Either he has joined the ranks of the mutant-hating masses since the attack on Manhattan for Magneto, or he's hiding an agenda, which is more likely what Fury is doing. Either way, we shouldn't expect help from the government. Wolverine says, there's a big change. They're asking about the professor. And White Queen's like, the professor's not running this team. We're not going to go whimpering at him every time there's a crisis. And she's like, Scott, right? And he's kind of like, yes, I agree. Kitty, and he starts giving orders. Do some of the computers. Hank, be in the lab. Emma, check the students. I'm going to contact some of the other teams, see how far this is reaching. Wolverine says, me. have a beer and stay away from Hank. It's a plan. So they go away. They're kind of grumbling. And Kitty's like, "You're fighting everyone, Logan. Am I next?" He's like, I can't take that kind of hurt. You go ninja on me." And then White Queen, Cyclops are talking, and she says, you're doing fine, but, Kitty thinks that I'm mentally controlling everything you say. And Cyclops kind of stops and thinks. He looks at her, "But you're not, right? You will never see me naked again." So, kind of funny. Nighttime, Beast. It's like, well, that's odd. And he's looking at the sample, and he's talking to himself about the doctor who made it. He's like, "You monster. You ghoul." He's like, "We have to go to Benetech," like the place where she's at. And he's like, "Now, tonight." He's telling Cyclops. He's like, "The cure? What? Is it dangerous?" He's like, "It's not about that. It's about the body they're running their tests on." So it's just like the art. Yeah, it doesn't tell who. So they're running the tests on somebody. And Beast says here, looking all sad, "Awesome fucking, like, I like these 2 panels." He's like, "Why does nothing ever stay buried?" Like, they're doing it on someone who just died or who's dead. And Cyclops is like, "Jean?" Looking all worried, and Emma doesn't like that fucking name spoken out loud. So, looks like they're, Jean Grey just died and they're experimenting on her body. So that's kind of a fucked up thing. So there's the end of the issue, and it says, "You won't believe what's next." So I like this. I like Astonishing X-Men. There's a bunch of different iterations of X-Men that I like. I started with the Jim Lee era. I grew up more with the Joe Mad, Age of Apocalypse, Onslaught kind of stuff. After that, it kind of went, it was hit and misses from there. Grant Morrison did some interesting things with it. I got to get in. I got to look at some of those when I get the chance. And then it went into Astonishing X-Men. I can't remember where it went after this. But it's interesting, and I like it, and it's putting it in a more realistic setting. It's doing some real-world issues. There could be some more, I don't know, action at points, more costumey, heroic stuff that makes X-Men fun, but it is what it is. So I enjoy it. Hope you do too. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. And as always, I will see you in the next video.